俺、君をどこかで。
私も。君の名前は。
運命だとか未来とかって言葉がどれだけ手を伸ばそうと届かない場所で僕ら恋。
In order to live, there are 4 basic elements of Earth: the air, fire, land, and especially water. Each one of them flows accordingly to each of their cycles, and the water cycle lives beyond all of the elements. Hydrosphere is one of the components of our Earth, which composed of all the liquid water that we can form on Earth. It helps create currents that move warm water from tropic to the poles. And it also helps to regulate our temperature here on Earth. So before anything else, one last trivia about hydrosphere. It is very important to be maintained for a diverse climate that exists worldwide.
Water cycle is one of the most essential biogeochemical cycles, and here's why. Water cycle is a continuous process that cycles around 3 main parts in which water is being converted back and forth in 3 physical states. The first one would be the conversion to gas. This involves evaporation, in which liquid water, when heated enough, transforms into its gaseous state. Transpiration, in which water vapor enters the atmosphere from the leaves of the plants. And sublimation, in which ice converts into gaseous state without having to pass through its liquid state. This usually happens at regions where there is a low pressure. Now, the second part would be condensation. As water vapor cools down in the atmosphere, it transforms back into its liquid state while being suspended in clouds. This will then lead to the third part, precipitation, where water molecules, when big enough in size to resist being converted back into water vapor, falls down to the ground as rain, snow, or hail. From there, it can go through huge bodies of water, seep through the ground, or can even be deposited back as ice. This cycle not only involves the hydrosphere but also the 3 other spheres of Earth, namely lithosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. And this is why water cycle is a vital part in the transfer of matter throughout an ecosystem.
Epigenetics. One of the leading causes of plant genetic changes is climate change, which leads to global warming and thus creating severe droughts. Further studies says that epigenetic changes are mainly behind the stress memory in plants. Without any changes in the genome nucleotide sequences, stress events have been shown to permanently modulate gene expressions via the activation or silencing via epigenetic mechanisms. One of these epigenetic changes is the cytosine methylation in the DNA, which is a reversible process depending on dedicated enzymes. Overall, the methylation in the coding regulatory regions hinders the expressions of target genes, whereas the methylation events are accompanied by the activation of genes in the eukaryotic genome.
Us humans have damaged the environment repeatedly over our time of existence. But let us not forget that amidst of all the destruction, we are continuously trying to undo the damages we have done. An example of this is the Boracay rehabilitation. This act aims to restore the former beauty of the beach and improve its water quality. Another is the use of wastewater treatment facility, which recycles used water from different households. This in turn creates a sustainable environment and it helps reduce water consumption. Lastly, humans have started to develop a number of substances that can help clean wastewater. This includes the Vigormin, which was developed by a Filipino professor. It is made of organic minerals that cleans the wastewater by removing organic pollutants. With that said, these are only a number of works that have caused a positive effect on the water reservoirs. But we continue to research different ways to reverse the negative effects we have caused in an attempt to sustain our environment and to coexist with other beings in this world.
Negative anthropogenic effects in the Philippines are caused by wastewater from these sources. 15% of the major sources of pollution is industrial wastewater, It is caused by metals like lead, mercury, chromium, cadmium, and cyanide. Industrial wastewater is the aqueous discard that results from the substances that have dissolved or suspended in water. It also includes contaminated stormwater, cooling water, processed water, and washdown waters. Agricultural wastewater is 37% of the major sources of pollution, which is caused by organic and non-organic. Organic are decayed plants, dead animals, livestock manure, and soil runoff, while the non-organic are pesticides and fertilizers.
Water pollution is a big problem, especially in our country, and it causes the wastewater from these sources. Human activities that generate domestic sewage and toxic waste cause water pollution and contaminating water with disease-causing microorganisms and poisonous substances where it is where the pathogens that is harmful to human health. Oil, mine, and chemical spills are another source of water pollution that have devastating impacts on surrounding because it affects the lives on the water and also us humans. If these were released in the water, the oil and oil products tend to accumulate the surface of the water and float above it. Such spill may result in oil residuals that could be entrapped underground, constituting secondary source of groundwater pollution.
Clean Water Act. In the Philippines, 31% of all diseases are ascribed to contaminated waters. The Department of Environment and Natural Resources, or DENR, implemented the Republic Act No. 9275, also known as the Philippine Clean Water Act of 2004, in order to ensure the clean access of water for all Filipinos. It aims to protect the water bodies of the country from being contaminated by land-based sources, and it involves a cohesive and comprehensive solution through a multi-sectoral and participatory process engaging all stakeholders to reduce and avert pollution. Fines and penalties will be charged to violators of this act.
The sixth Sustainable Development Goal ensures water availability, sustainability, and sanitation management for all. This SDG aims to achieve universal and equitable access to safe and affordable drinking water by 2030. Water stress already affects countries on every continent and hinders sustainability of natural resources, economic, and social development. By protecting our waters, we are also protecting humans and creating a more sustainable planet. By 2030, the United Nations hopes to expand international cooperation capacity to build support developing countries and water and sanitation-related activities, including water harvesting, desalination, water efficiency, wastewater treatment, and recycling technologies.
Water cycle has no specific starting point, but we will begin in the ocean since that's where most of the Earth's water exists. Ocean covers 75% of the Earth's surface and represents 99% of the living space of the planet by volume. The ocean drives global systems that make the Earth habitable for humankind. What are invasive species in the ocean? Aquatic invasive species are plants and animals that evolve in one location and are introduced through a variety of means into another location. Species have always used the oceans to move about the planet. The result is an increasing number of ocean ecosystems, primarily near shorelines, that are being compromised or wiped out by non-native species. Ongoing sea temperature rise caused by global warming is allowing non-native species to populate ocean habitats. What is the problem with life below water? Human actions seriously affect water resources. At present, coastal waters are worsening continuously as a result of pollution, and ocean acidification has an adverse effect on the functioning of ecosystems and biodiversity. Climate change intensifies the water cycle because more water evaporates into the air as air temperature rises, which can lead to more intense rainstorms causing extreme flooding in coastal communities around the world. A change in climate is felt through a change in water. On the other hand, over 3 billion people depend on marine and coastal biodiversity for their living. However, 30% of the world's fish stocks are overexploited today. Oceans also absorb about 30% of carbon dioxide produced by humans, and since the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, we have seen a 26% rise in ocean acidification. Marine pollution is reaching alarming levels, with every square kilometer of ocean containing an average of 13,000 pieces of plastic litter. So, Goal 14, Life Below Water, seeks to conserve and sustainably use the oceans, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. It aims to manage and protect marine coastal ecosystems from pollution and address the impacts of ocean acidification as well. Enhancing conservation and the sustainable use of ocean-based resources through international law will also help mitigate some of the challenges facing our ocean. Marine protected areas need to be effectively managed and well-resourced, and regulations need to be put in place to reduce overfishing, marine pollution, and ocean acidification. Careful management of the ocean is a key feature of a sustainable future and is essential for humanity as a whole. Let us all remember, saving our ocean must remain a priority.